According to God, the white man is the devil.
You see, I've been in here for a little minute. You know what I'm saying? And I see niggas, they like to talk a lot. They like to claim leadership. They like to claim this and that. You know what I'm saying? They like to be above what they really is and have authority. But they don't really need that authority. They don't really know what to do with that leadership. You understand? You hold hands with this boy, your ass need to stop and ask you to give a damn what you talk about. Don't give a fuck what you believe, nigga. Gotta stand up and serve my God. We don't pray on our knees, nigga. Yeah. See, everybody ain't with all that peace talk. Everybody ain't with all that bygone. Boy, your ass need to stop and ask you to prop. It's about to get serious. Boy, when they hit us with dope and kill us with crack, where the fuck with your leaders? I'm curious. He cashed out on your blood, traded you in and bought a new biz. Ask you the prophets, I tell you the scheme. If you don't wake up, you gon' die in your dreams. I say you won't tell you no more. I swear these crackers try to kill us slow. Just spoke to a nigga and fed he up on parole because of the COVID. It feel like the host in this world that don't go together. Nowhere is gold in the ghetto. I'm in the city blazing with my niggas. Just told the devil the score never settled. See the prophets. So I'm tired of these niggas keep talking about, you know, you respect my religion, I respect your religion. Boy, your ass need to stop and ask you the prophets. You know, like we all come together. Cause you know, they say God so loved the world. God so loved the world, and no, boy, your ass need to stop and ask you the prophets. Don't give a damn what you talk about. Don't give a fuck what you believe. You gotta stand up to serve my God. We don't pray on our knees, nigga. Yeah. Hey, gentlemen, y'all, we don't pray on our knees, nigga. Gotta stand up. You know what I'm saying? Boy, your ass need to stop and ask you to I'm gonna step up, I'm solid for show. To the fake niggas, stay silent, I got it, let's go. Let's go. I ain't taking no loss, ain't no token when we got the flow. Ain't no peace, just play with your own. I'ma be loyal to the right arm. Tell him we can't keep me slave. And I can never let bygone be bygone. Got your baby mother on high, got your baby pass through the fire. Ask you the prophets, that baby soul belong to the Lord. How dare you abort it? Therefore will failure, bitch, I can afford it. I prepare slaughter, you bring me my water. Plus your leaders weak, let them lies slip through their teeth. Their ass need to stop and ask you the prophets.
That's just the reality, Christians. I'm sorry to hurt your feelings. I know your pastor lied to you every Sunday for 30 years, but that's what the church is for, lying. That's why they exist, to lie the money out of your pockets.
Boy, your ass need to stop and ask you to give a damn what you talk about. Don't give a fuck what you believe, nigga. Gotta stand up to serve my God. We don't pray on our knees, nigga. We don't pray on our knees, nigga. Gotta stand up to serve my God. We don't pray on our knees, nigga.
Hey, Shalom, Israel. Yabashim Yahshua Barakatham to the brothers. Yahshua Thumb Bashim Yahshua to the sisters. I'm Police Officer Parak holding down the Sabbath service for the ISUPK coming out of Arizona. All right, if you're looking at the very bottom of the screen, we got our class location, 12416 North 28th Drive. We're in suite number 4, right off of the corner of 28th Drive and Cactus. All right, we got classes every Tuesday through Friday and every Saturday. All right, make sure y'all tuning in. Follow all of our social media. And of course, if you're in the Phoenix area, make sure you attend our classes. Today, we're going to be going, of course, the Sabbath service. So we're going to continue on from last week. All right. What we're going to really focus on today is, if y'all been tuning in, continuing into the story, the fact that Joseph being in Egypt and having all of the favor that he gained by having, of course, the favor of the Most High, we're going to find that there's going to be a new Pharaoh that comes into play. All right. And it's going to be a completely different vibe. It's going to be completely different as to what we've been reading for the past couple Sabbath services. So, but I want to read a scripture before we get started, just so we can understand something about why these things are important. If you could pull Romans 15:4 for me.
Okay. Look at Romans chapter 15, verse 4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning.
So for whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our learning. The things that we're reading about right now were written for generations to come. These things are historical records, and historical records get written down so that way people 2,000-3,000 years in the future. For us, it's about 3,500 years from when these things was initially took place. They got written down so people like us can go back and learn from them. And that's what you'll find throughout these scriptures when we go back and we read these things 2,000-3,000 years after they was written. You'll find that there's still lessons to be learned about these things. There's still things that we could take away from these events. All right, keep reading.
God, that we, through patience and comfort of the scriptures, might have hope.
So that we, through patience and comfort of the scriptures, read that again.
That we, through patience and comfort of the scriptures, might have hope.
Through patience and comfort of the scriptures, we might have hope. We're going to read about this today. We're going to read about something that's extremely important, right? There's going to be a new Pharaoh that comes into play in Egypt that's going to oppress the piss out of Joseph. And he had all of this favor from the Most High. Remember, if you've been tuning in with us, Joseph was sold into slavery by his brothers to, some Assyrians, right? To Ishmaelites, right? And they went and sold Joseph into to Egypt, right? And that was supposed to be affliction to Joseph. But he come into Egypt and take the goddamn city over. You understand? Become what would be considered damn near what would you call that? A confidant to the Pharaoh. I mean, he had everything that Pharaoh had access to, he had access to. You understand? So even in his affliction, he gained mercy from the Most High because the Most High had mercy on him. So that's a beautiful thing, right? But then we find what we're going to find today in today's class. We're going to find out that there's a new Pharaoh that don't know nothing about Egypt. And when he comes into power, he's going to afflict the piss out of Joseph. And there's something that we can learn from this. And so I want y'all to understand that through patience and comfort of the scriptures, we can have hope. Because remember, we're in Egypt today. When you go into the book of Revelation, you find that there's a new Egypt that's going to come into effect. That was written down 2,000 years ago. It's here now. That Egypt is America. And so we in Egypt, we getting afflicted. Right. And so now we're going to understand how to deal with that affliction, though we know we're chosen people of the Most High. Joseph knew that he was chosen and picked out of the bunch by the Most High to be a special people. Well, he understood that. But now he's about to get afflicted in a land that's foreign to him. And so there's going to be something that we can learn and take away from it. So, but before we get into them scriptures, of course, this being a Sabbath service, we're going to open up with the prayers. So I imagine, which means to stand. Panyabit, which means to turn and face the east. We're going to begin with the Lord's Prayer, beginning with the Hebrew. Abanawa, Shabashamaya, Kodash, Haya, Shamka, Yahweh, Malakwaka, Taba'a, Ratazaka, Haya, Aisha, Barataza, Kawa, Haya, Bashamaya, Atalanawa, Lacham, Kayawam, Basalakanawa, Kawatnawa, Kasalaknawa, Kawatinawa, Wala'a, Tabayanawa, Manasai 1, Abal, Hawashinawa, Mayan, Raikaya, Laka, Amalakwa, Wa'ala, Wathapara, Laiwalamya, Aman. The Lord's Prayer in English. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Yahweh, thy kingdom come. Thy will be done in earth, as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. And forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. So be it. The Akak, or the power in the Hebrew. Yahweh, Bashem Yahushua, Babu Kashah, Nathan Nawakak, Hakala Rapa'ah, Kal Maka'alam, Kal Madawa, Hakat Latahar, Hamatazarayim, Hakat Lakwayam, Hamathium, Hakat, Al Rakawa, Hatama'ala, the God's son, Bashem Yahushua, the Wadaman, in the English. Alpha Slaki, Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahweh Shai,
Name Yahweh Shai.
please give us the power.
Please give us the power.
The power to heal all manner of sickness.
The power to heal all manner of sickness.
And all manner of disease.
And all manner of disease.
The power to cleanse the lepers.
The power to cleanse the lepers.
The power to raise the dead.
The power to raise the dead.
The power against unclean spirits.
The power against unclean spirits.
To cast them out.
To cast them out.
In the name of Yahweh Shai.
Name Yahweh Shai.
Thank you, so be it.
Thank you, so be it.
These are the prayers to bless Israel. Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai.
Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai.
Barak Lanawa.
Barak Lanawa.
Wa'yasharallah.
Wa'yasharallah.
Wa'habayah Saparyam.
Wa'yasharallah.
Barak.
Barak.
Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai.
Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai.
The water Aman.
The water Aman.
What we just said was Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahweh Shai.
In the name of Yahweh Shai.
Bless us.
Bless us.
And Israel.
And Israel.
And the school.
And the school.
In the name of Yahweh
In the
Shai.
name of Yahweh Shai.
Thank you, so be it.
Thank you, so be it.
Psalms the 121st chapter in the Hebrew. Asha'ah.
Asha'ah.
Ayanya.
Ayanya.
Ahaharyam.
Ahaharyam.
Ma'yan.
Ma'yan.
Yaba'ah.
Yaba'ah.
Isaiah.
Isaiah.
Isaiah Ma'am Yahweh.
Isaiah Ma'am Yahweh.
Aisha.
Aisha.
Shamayam.
Shamayam.
Wa'aratazah.
Wa'aratazah.
Al Yathan.
Al Yathan.
Lamawat.
Lamawat.
Ragalka.
Ragal.
Al Yanawam.
Al Yanawam.
Shamarka.
Shamarka.
Ana.
Ana.
La'a.
La'a.
Yanawam.
Yanawam.
Wala'a.
Wala'a.
Yayashan.
Yayashan.
Shamar.
Shamar.
Yashala.
Yashala.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Shamarka.
Shamarka.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Tazalka.
Zalka.
Al Yad.
Al Yad.
Yamyanka.
Yamyanka.
Yawamam.
Yawamam.
Hashamash.
Hashamash.
La'a.
La'a.
Yakaka.
Yakaka.
Wayarach.
Wayarach.
Balayala.
Wayala.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Yashamarka.
Shamarka.
Makar Rai.
Wa'arai.
Yashamar.
Shamar.
Athnapashka.
Pashka.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Yashamar.
Shamar.
Taza'athka.
After.
Waba'aka.
Wa'aka.
Ma'aita.
Wa'aita.
Wa'ai.
Wa'ai.
I will love.
I will love.
Psalms 121st chapter in the English. I will lift up mine eyes unto the
I
hills.
lift up mine eyes unto the hills.
From whence cometh my
From
help?
whence cometh my help?
My help cometh from Yahweh,
Cometh from Yahweh.
which made heaven and earth.
Which made heaven and earth.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He that keepeth thee will not slumber.
He that keepeth thee will not slumber.
Behold,
Behold,
he that keepeth Yashala
he that keepeth Yahweh
shall neither slumber nor sleep.
shall neither slumber nor sleep.
Yahweh is thy keeper.
Yahweh is thy keeper.
Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand.
Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand.
The sun shall not smite thee by day,
The sun shall not smite thee by day,
nor the moon by night.
and the moon by night.
Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil.
Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil.
He shall preserve thy soul.
He shall preserve thy soul.
Yahweh shall preserve thy going out
Yahweh shall preserve thy going out
and thy coming in,
and thy coming in.
from this time forth
From this time forth,
and even forevermore.
even forevermore.
All right, we're going to read Psalms the 83rd chapter in the Hebrew. Alahayim,
Allahayim.
Al-Damayalaka,
Adam Yalakah.
Al-Thakarash,
Al-Takarash.
Wa-Al-Thashakwat,
Al-Tashakwat.
All,
Al.
Kayahana,
Kayana.
Awayabyaka,
Al-Yabika.
Yamayawan,
Yamayawan.
Ra'ash,
Ra'ash.
Al-Amaka,
Al-Amaka.
Yarayamba,
Yahweh Yahweh.
Sawadah,
Sawadah.
Wayatha,
Wa'itha.
Yaitazawa,
Yaitazawa.
Al-Tazapawanyaka,
Al-Tazapawanyaka.
Amarwa,
Amar.
Lakawa,
Lakawa.
Wanakakidam,
Wanakakidam.
Magoya,
Magalia.
Wala'a,
Wala'ah.
Yazakar,
Zakar.
Shamyashala,
Somyashah.
Iwada,
Awadah.
Kaya,
Kaya.
Nawaitazawa,
Al-Aitazawa.
Laba,
Laba.
Yakadwa,
Yakadwa.
Ayaka,
Al-Yakah.
Baryath,
Baryath.
Yakarathwa,
Yakaratwa.
Ahaya,
Ahaya.
Adawam,
Awam.
Washmalium,
Washma'ali.
Mawa'aba,
Mawa'ab.
Wagaryam,
Wagard.
Gabal,
Abba.
Waimawan,
Amawan.
Waimalak,
Wamalak.
Palashah,
Palashah.
I'm Yeshabia,
Yeshabia.
Tazawar,
Tazawar.
Gamashawar,
Ram Ashawar.
Nalawa,
Alawat.
Imam,
Imam.
Hayawa,
Ayawat.
Zawai,
Sarawat.
Labanyalawat,
Bayalawat.
Salah,
Salah.
Aishalaham,
Salahan.
Kamadyan,
Kamadi.
Kasaya,
Kasaya.
Sara'ah,
Sara'at.
Kayabian,
Kayebi.
Manakal,
Manakal.
Kwayashwan,
Yashua.
Nashamadwa,
Shamadwa.
Vayan,
Bayan.
Dara,
Da'arat.
Hayawa,
Ayawat.
Daman,
Daman.
La'adama,
Adam.
like Shayathamwa,
Sorry, Thamwa.
Nada,
Nada.
Yamawa,
Yamawat.
Ka'ira,
Ka'ira.
Wakaza Abba,
Because Adam.
Wakaza Bach,
Because Bat.
Wakaza Zal,
Because
Mana'ai,
When I
Call,
call.
Nasai Kamwa,
Sorry, Thamwa.
Ashar,
Shar.
Amarwa,
Amarwa.
Nairashah,
Narashah.
Lanawa,
Now.
Ath,
Ah.
Na'awath,
Nawat.
Ala'ayim,
Alahaya.
Ala'aya,
Alahaya.
Shayathamwa,
Sorry, Thamwa.
Kagalgala,
Kagalgala.
Kakwash,
Shakwash.
Lapanya Rakah,
Upon your Rakah.
Ka'ash,
Sha'ash.
Taba'ira,
Taba'ira.
Ya'ira,
Ya'ira.
Wakalaba,
Kalaba.
Talahat,
Salahat.
Haryam,
Haryam.
Khan,
Khan.
Tharadapma,
Daradapma.
Wasa'iraka,
Sa'iraka.
Wabasa,
Wabasa.
Wapathka,
Pasta.
Tabalam,
Tabalah.
Mala'ah,
Mala'ah.
Panyaham,
Upon your hump.
Kwalawan,
Call one.
Wayabakwashwa,
Wayabakashwa.
Shamka,
Shirka.
Yahweh,
Yahweh.
Yabashwa,
Yabashwa.
Slaki, Wayabahawa,
Wayabahara.
Ayai,
Ayai.
Wayakarparwa,
Wayakapara.
Wayabadwa,
Wayabadwa.
Wayadaiwa,
Wayada'ai.
Kayatha,
Kayata.
Shamka,
Shirka.
Yahweh,
Yahweh.
Labadka,
Labadka.
Ayan,
Ayan.
Ayawan,
Ayawan.
Akar,
Akar.
Ha'aratazah.
Aratiza.
All right, we're going to read Psalms, the 83rd chapter in English. Keep not thou silence, O God.
Keep not thy silence, O God.
Hold not thy peace,
Hold not thy peace.
and be not still, O
And
God.
be not still, O God.
For lo,
For lo,
Thine enemies make a tumult.
Thine enemies make a tumult.
And they that hate thee have lifted up their head.
They hate thee and lift up their head.
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people.
And taken crafty counsel against thy people.
And consulted against thy hidden ones.
Consulted against thy hidden ones.
They have said,
Come,
and let us cut them off from being a nation.
Let's cut them off from being a nation.
That the name of Yahshua
The name of Yahshua
may be no more remembered.
May be no more in remembrance.
For they have consulted together with one consent.
They have consulted together with one consent.
They are confederate against thee.
They are confederate against thee.
The tabernacles of Edom.
The tabernacles of Edom.
And the Ishmaelites.
The Ishmaelites.
Of Moab.
Moab.
And the Agarim.
Agarim.
Gabal.
Gabal.
And Ammon. And Amalek.
Amalek.
The Philistines.
Philistines.
With the inhabitants of Tyre.
The inhabitants of Tyre.
Asur also is joined with them.
So also is joined with them.
They have hope in the children of
They
Lot.
have hope in the children of Lot.
Salah.
Salah.
Do unto them as unto the Midianites.
Go to them as unto the Midianites.
As to Sisera.
As to Sisera.
As to Jabin.
As to Jabin.
At the brook of Kasan.
Brook of Kasan.
Which perished at Endor.
Perished at Endor.
They became as dung for the earth.
They became a dung for the earth.
Make their nobles like a red.
They know like a red.
And like Zeeb.
Like Zed.
Yea.
Yeah.
All their princes as
All
Abab.
the princes of Sabbath.
And as
And
Amunah.
as Amunah.
Who said,
Who said,
let us take to ourselves
let's take to
the
ourselves
houses of God
the houses of
in
God.
possession.
Possession.
Oh my
Oh
God.
my God.
Make them like a wheel.
With them like a wheel.
As the stubble before the wind.
As the stomach before the wind.
As the fire burneth the wood.
The fire burns the wood.
And as the flame setteth the mountains on fire.
The flames set the mountains on fire.
So persecute them with thy tempest.
Persecute them with thy temper.
And make them afraid with thy
Make
storm.
them afraid with thy storm.
Fill their faces with shame.
With their faces with shame.
That they may see thy name.
To receive thy name.
O Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Let them be confounded in trouble forever.
To be confounded in trouble forever.
Yea.
Yeah.
Let them be put to shame and perish.
Should put to shame and perish.
That men may know that thou,
And we know that thou,
whose name alone
name alone,
is Yahweh,
is Yahweh,
art the most high over all the earth.
art the most high of all the earth.
We're going to read the blessings in the Hebrew. Barakatah Yahweh.
Barakatah Yahweh.
Why Yahweh Shai?
Why Yahweh Shai?
Why Ma'aka Allah?
Ma'aka Allah.
Why Lahayim?
Why Lahayim.
Mutazab Ya'ad.
Zab Yah.
Allah Wap Yahana.
Alawak Yahana.
Allah Wapim.
Alawak.
Asaranyim.
Asranyim.
Makwatazanyanyim.
Kakazayah.
Chaya Yayim.
Akal Yah.
Why Agwathim.
Why Wah.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Hashem Yahweh Shai.
Washim Yahweh Shai.
What I'm on.
Why Amun.
We're going to read the blessings in the English. Bless you, Yahweh.
Bless you, Yahweh.
And Yahweh
And
Shai.
Yahweh Shai.
And Michael.
And Michael.
And the angels.
The angels.
Commanding General Yahana.
Commanding General
The
Yahana.
generals.
General.
The captains.
The captains.
The officers.
The officers.
The troopers.
The troopers.
And the
And the
sisters.
sisters.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahweh Shai.
Name Yahweh Shai.
Thank you. So be it.
Thank you so much.
Sorry while you're shopping, you can turn and be seated. All right. So we're going to be beginning from Genesis, the 50th chapter, where we left off at the 13th verse. All right. And then, of course, we'll read. Let me see. Yeah. So we'll begin from the 13th verse. And, of course, we'll read 7 verses at a time. Let's see. All right. So we'll read Genesis 50, beginning at verse 13. Waya Sha'ar, it's like a Waya Sha'wa, Athwa, Banyam, Banyawa, Arataza, Bana'ain, Waya Kabwarwa, Athwa, Bama Irath, Shada, Hamalaka, Salaki, Hamaka Pala, Ashar, Kwana, Abaraham, Ath, Hashada, Lakawath, Lakazath, Kobar, Ma'ath, Ipar, Salaki, Iparan, Hachathaya, Al, Panya, Mamara, verse 14, Wayashab, Yawasap, Matazar Yama, Hawa'a, Wa'ak, Akyawa, Wakal, Wa'ayal Yam, Athwa, Lakwabar, Ath, Abayawa, Acharya, Kwabarwa, Ath, Abayawa, verse 15, Waya Rawa, Akwa, that's like Akia, Yawasap, Kaya, Ma, that's like in Math, Abyaham, Waya Amarwa, Lawa, Yesha Tam, it's like Yesha Tam, Man Wa, Yawasap, Wahashab, Yeshayab, Lanwa, it's like Lanawa, Ath, Kal, Harai, Ashar, Gamal Nawa, Athwa, verse 16, Watazawa, Al, Yawasap, La Amar, Abayaka, Tazawa, La Panya, Mawathwa, La Amar, verse 17, Kaha, Tha'amarwa, La Yawasap, Ana, Shah, Na, Pashai, Akyaka, Wahad Ta'atham, Kaya, Ra'ai, Gamal Wuka, Waitha, Shah, Na'a, Lapashai, Ibadya, Alya, Abayaka, Wayabaka, Yawasap, Badabaram, Ayawa, verse 18, Wayalakawa, Gum, Akaya, Akya, Akyawa, Wayapawa, Lapanyawa, Waya Amarwa, Hananwa, Laka, Laibadyam, verse 19, Waya Amar, Alaham, Yawasap, Al, Thaya Rawa, Kaya, Hathakath, Alahayim, Anya. All right, that was verses 13 through 19. We're going to read those same verses in English, and we'll continue on in this story. When you got it, you can read it.
Okay, the book of Genesis, chapter 50, verse 13. For his sons carried him into the land of Canaan and buried him in the cave of the field of Machpelah, which Abraham bought with the field for possession of a burying place of Ephron the Hittite before Mamre.
So just to give you a quick recap, right? Of course, Jacob is dead. All right. In Genesis, the 49th chapter, the chapter prior to this, he gave all of his 12 sons, the 12 tribes of Israel. He gave them all a specific blessing, which if you know anything about the ISUPK, we have what is called a 12 tribes sign, or some people call it a chart. But it's a list of the 12 tribes of Israel and who they are today. All right. Nobody is called today in modern day. Nobody is called a Judite. Nobody is called an Ephraimite. Nobody is called a Simeonite. All right. People are always called based off of where they are from. So most of the time, unless you're black, then you're just called black. Right. But most people are called Irish, Italian. Well, Irish people are from Ireland. Italians are from Italy. If you want a blanket statement, say white people, it's not just white people. You say, well, they're European, but that still is not their ethnicity. That's just where they're from, right? Same thing for black people today. Right now, you call a black person black, but really, what are you really calling them? You're really saying they're African American, which is 2 continents, right? But that's not their ethnicity. That's just where they are either located or where they're from. Well, biblically, there's 18 nations, and the 18 nations in the Bible is where every single human being comes from. Well, in Genesis, the 49th chapter, it tells you who the tribes of Israel are. All right. The Israelites are one of those 18 nations, and within the tribes of Israel is 12 different tribes. All right. Genesis the 49th chapter outlines who each one of those tribes are. So we have lessons on those things, but I want you to understand that the blessings that Jacob just gave in the chapter prior to this is how we identify who the 12 tribes of Israel are based off of those prophecies. All right. And I'm sure Priest Officer Razan last Sabbath was able to break a little bit of that down. But now Jacob is dead and gone. All right. So now his sons have to carry him over into the land of Canaan to bury him. That was his wishes before he died. Why is Abraham being mentioned here? Well, that's Jacob's grandfather. And Jacob's grandfather had purchased a plot of land where he wanted his family to be buried at. And so per his wishes, Jacob carried that on and told his sons to bury him there. All right, that's why we're reading about. So now that's all of the backstory y'all need just to get you sped up to where we at now. All right, go ahead.
Okay. Verse 14. And Joseph returned into Egypt, he and his brethren, and all that went up with him to bury his father after he had buried his father. Verse 15. And when Joseph's brethren saw that their father was dead, they said, Joseph will peradventure hate us, and will certainly requite us all the evil which we did unto him.
Right. So now Joseph's brethren, right, all of the other tribes, remember, his brothers sold him into slavery. And so the reason why Joseph has spent so many years not seeing and knowing his father, he missed out on so much time around his father, was because his brothers sold him into slavery. So now they looking around like Jacob's dead, right? Their father's dead and Joseph is around now. He's surely going to hate us and want to do something evil to us because of the evil thing that we did. That's one of the most evil things you could do, is remove a child from their father. You understand? To rob a child of having a father in his life is one of the most evil things that you could do. And they did it. Right. And so now the father's dead. He can't even get the time back. So what an evil thing to do. So they like, damn, Joseph is going to want to do something evil back to us. Go ahead.
Like this, as we went over in the previous Sabbath services, you know what I'm saying? This is something that they thought about for a long time, you know, when they first came into Egypt, you know, during the famine to buy food, and Joseph did what he did to him. They thought the whole time, like, you know, this is definitely God visiting upon us what we did to our brother.
Right.
So this thought of him getting back at them has been on their mind for a very long time.
Yeah, that's that guilt. That's that guilt. Yeah, that guilt to come back and haunt you, man, when you know you've done something evil. And we'll get into that in a minute. But yeah, that's something that a lot of people experience when they know that they've done something wrong. It's called remorse and guilt, right? Let's keep reading.
Verse 16. And they sent a messenger unto Joseph, saying, Thy father did command before he died, saying, So shall ye say unto Joseph, Forgive, I pray thee now, the trespass of thy brethren, and their sin. For they did unto thee evil. And now we pray thee, forgive the trespass of the servants of the God of thy father. And Joseph wept when they spake unto him. Verse 18. And his brethren also went and fell down before his face. And they said, Behold, we be thy servants. And Joseph said unto them, Fear not, for am I in the place of God.
Right. For am I in the place of God? So his brothers come begging for mercy, and Joseph like, man, get up, man. Am I the Most High? I'm not going to be the one to punish you. If anybody's going to punish you, it'll be the Lord. Right? Keep reading.
Okay. Verse 20. But as for you, ye thought evil against me, but God meant it unto good, to bring to pass as it is this day, to save much people alive.
Right. You thought to, and this is how y'all got to think about certain things in life, because these things, once again, they were written aforetime for our learning, because you got to think about it. His brothers meant to do him evil, but what really happened was it turned out to be a blessing, not only for Joseph, but it turned out to be a blessing for so many of the people's lives that Joseph saved. And it was it was what people call today a butterfly effect. All right, or the domino effect, right?
Right.
Which is one thing leads to another, which leads to another, which leads to another. You thought you was just selling your brother into slavery, but you didn't realize that the Most High decided to utilize that to bring about many good things, right? Let's keep reading. Oh, go ahead.
Good, sir. This is also, you know what I'm saying, reminiscent of Joseph's vision. That's why he garnered much more hate from his brother, because they already didn't like him already, because you all go tell what they were doing to Jacob.
Right.
But he had the vision, you know, where that the reeds or stalks, and his stalk was higher than everybody else's.
Yeah.
And they thought, oh, you think we're gonna bow down to you?
Right.
You're the little brother. How you gonna bow down to you?
Right.
But now this is what's to come. Most High raised him up so that he can save his brothers and his family from that famine.
Right. And if you think about it, it all came around full circle because they just bowed themselves down to him, calling themselves his servant. But that's, of course, Joseph. Joseph was a prophet. That's why they call him Joseph the dreamer, right? Because he got these visions. And that'll actually go to show, just a side note, right? That'll also go to show that a lot of times when you're a prophet, you deliver the message that a lot of people don't want to hear until it's too late. Like, for instance, with this situation, Joseph delivered the prophecy that all of his family was going to end up bowing down to him. That was a prophecy, but they was like, oh, he's just full of it. You know, he's full of himself. He just want to be in a leading position. He want to be, he a little brother, but he want to be the big brother. He want us to serve him. Well, it wasn't that he wanted that. That was just a vision. So he like, whatever, no sweat. Well, that's the same thing that we deliver something that we say we're the Israelites according to the Bible, and the Israelites are going to rule the face of this planet because that's what the Most High has showed us through these scriptures. And what do people always say? Oh, y'all just want to be the greatest nation. Even the Christians that call themselves Israelites and say everybody else could be saved, they say, oh, y'all just take too much pride in being Israel. No, it's not that. It's not that we could, whether I'm an Israelite or not, these prophecies are true.
Right.
But you just hate me for bringing them out, but I ain't doing nothing. I'm just giving you what the Lord then gave to me. You hate us for it now. You're going to realize that it's true in the very near future. And then you'll be fulfilling the prophecy that we told you was going to happen.
Right.
Right. All right. Go ahead.
Come on. Verse 21. Now, therefore, fear ye not. I will nourish you and your little ones. And he comforted them and spake kindly unto them. Verse 22.
And this is in Salaki, and if I could, this is one of the greatest examples of forgiveness. And you know why it was so easy for Joseph to be able to forgive his brothers? That, I mean, if my brothers sold me into slavery, I don't give a damn how many years went by, I'm gonna harbor a little bit of resentment, at least a little bit. You understand?
Right.
But when you have the spirit of the Most High, it's no longer you harboring resentment. You just understand that the Most High allowed this thing to happen. You just walk on that path. And that's why he said, when they bowed down and said, please have mercy on me, he said, am I in the place of God? Because he also knows that his place is not to judge his brothers. When I say judge, I'm not talking about a feeling. I'm talking about an action. He didn't do anything to recompense the evil that they did unto him. He just said, look, if the Lord going to deal with you, he going to deal with you. It ain't my place. And that's part of the spirit of forgiveness. Part of the spirit of forgiveness is you not putting yourself in the Most High's place and say, well, I gotta get revenge. You just forget a brother, the sister, whoever offended you or did whatever to you, and you just understand that the Most High, if he sees fit, he'll judge them. He'll place a judgment on them, whatever they're worthy of. And he was able to do that, and he went and took it a step further. He said, I'm gonna nourish you and your little ones. Right? I'm gonna take care of y'all, because that's the position the Most High put me in. And he never once said, told you so. You understand? He never said, I told you this is gonna happen. Remember my vision? Y'all was, nah, he didn't do that. He just said, the Most High put me, and that's a real man of God. The Most High put me in this position. I'm not going to abuse it. I'm going to take what the Lord has given me based off of what y'all did to me when y'all thought to do evil to me. The Most High put me in this position to end up taking care of y'all. I'm not going to use it against y'all. Right?
Right.
Keep reading.
Verse 22. And Joseph dwelt in Egypt, he in his father's house. And Joseph lived 110 years. And Joseph saw Ephraim's children of the third generation, the children of Machir, and the son of Manasseh were brought up upon Joseph's knees.
Mm-hmm. So he was able to see his great-great-grandchildren, right? He lived a very long time. Keep going.
Verse 24. And Joseph said unto his brethren, I die, and God will surely visit you and bring you out of this land unto the land which he swore to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. So
this is one of the first prophecies that you end up seeing about the fact that the children of Israel was going to be led out of Egypt, right? Because, of course, Joseph is a prophet, and he's declaring a prophecy that, look, I'm gonna die, but the Most High is gonna. He's talking to his great great grandchildren, which is they was a part of the Exodus that we'll be soon reading about, and he declared that they was going to be delivered out of Egypt into the land which the Most High promised them. Right? Keep going.
Okay. Verse 25. And Joseph took an oath of the children of Israel, saying, God will surely visit you, and ye shall carry up my bones from hence. So Joseph died, being 110 years old, and they embalmed him, and he was put in a coffin in Egypt.
All right. So now, that's of course the end of the book of Genesis. All right. Joseph dies, and now we're going to see something new. We're going to see something different than what we've been experiencing, right? Because now Joseph is gone. We're going to find out that there's a new Pharaoh, and don't know nothing about Joseph. So what does that mean? He don't know nothing about Joseph's family. He don't care nothing about no Israelite. See, the Israelites, all of Joseph's brothers was protected when Joseph was alive and when that Pharaoh was in charge. But now we're going to find that there's a new Pharaoh in charge, right? Give me Exodus 1:1.
Now, this book of Exodus, chapter 1, verse 1. Now these are the names of the children of Israel, which came into Egypt. Every man in his household came with Jacob: Reuben, Simeon, Levi, and Judah; Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin; Dan, and Naphtali, Gad, and Asher. And all the souls that came out of their loins of Jacob were 70 souls.
Mm-hmm.
For Joseph was in Egypt already. And Joseph died, and all his brethren, and all that generation.
Mm-hmm. So Joseph and all his brothers died, right? Now it's their sons, and their sons are now carrying on their father's lineages. All right, keep reading.
Okay. And the children of Israel were fruitful, and increased abundantly, and multiplied, and waxed exceeding mighty, and the land was filled with them. Verse 8.
And that's just something to understand. We came into Egypt really with just one man, right? And then the rest of his family came into Egypt with their families and began to just procreate, and then we find out once again that it was 70 souls that came into Egypt, but they just kept on keeping on, right? And it came to pass that they started to become more in abundance than the Egyptians, right? Go ahead.
Okay. Verse 8. Now there arose up a new king over Egypt, which knew not Joseph.
Uh-huh.
And he said unto his people, Behold, the people of the children of Israel are more and mightier than we.
Go ahead.
Come on, let us deal wisely with them.
Let us do what?
Let us deal wisely with them.
Let us deal wisely with them. Go ahead.
Lest they multiply, and it come to pass that when we fall out any war, they join unto our enemies and fight against us, and so get them up out of the land.
So look, this is what the new king, the new Pharaoh over Egypt said. He said, let us deal wisely with them. That's what we we just got through reading that in our prayers. Psalms 83rd chapter tells us that they have been confederate against us and taking crafty counsel against us. Crafty counsel. That's what them dealing wisely with us. Because what we're going to find out is that the people that have oppressed us have always had to deal wisely with us to in order to oppress us, right? We find that when we became a force to be reckoned with in the United States, right? During our many years of captivity in America, when we became a force to be reckoned with and had a solid family structure, and our children were like the smartest people that you could ever imagine. They was going to Harvard. And building black schools, these HBCUs, right? And the greatest inventors, your light bulb comes from a black man. Your goddamn refrigerator that keeps your food nice and cold comes from a black man. Many of the things that you experience today only exists because of the mind of black people. And our oppressor understood that. And they knew that they couldn't just go door to door and start killing us off. One, because it wouldn't work out very well for them amongst the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, right? But then on top of that, it wouldn't work because they need us. They wouldn't have these things without us, right? And so what did they have to do? They had to deal craftily with us. They had to deal wisely with us. And so what did they do? They put drugs in our neighborhoods. They put that crack epidemic. They put the crack in our neighborhoods and then launched the war on drugs. So that way they could lock us up.
Right.
They introduced all manner of what that whole welfare situation, which people say that black people benefit so much from. They put those things they introduced those things so that way they could get rid of the black family. Because back in the day, in order for a sister to be on welfare, she had to get rid of her husband. You couldn't have a man in the house providing. She had to be the sole provider. She had to be a single mother. So what would that cause? It would cause them to rely on the white man and not the black man. Just, so many things that they've done to eradicate us. And we're going to find that what Egypt did in the past is the same thing that we see America doing today. So this is what the king said. He said, let us deal wisely with them. Go ahead. Give me verse 11.
Verse 11. Therefore, they did set over them taskmasters to afflict them with their burdens. And they built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramses. But the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew.
And that's something else that you find, right? Even when you see now, this is the beginning stages of slavery, right? When you see now these people they're setting taskmasters over another group of people, which of course is what you find today. Modern day, you find as a policeman. But when you go back into the days of slavery, you find that they had taskmasters. Those people that you see on them pictures, on them horses, walking up and down the plantation with the whips in their hands, making sure the slaves don't get out of line. That's a taskmaster. That's a taskmaster, right? And it says to afflict them with their burdens. So now they wanted to make the servants that they had, the Israelites, the slaves in Egypt, he wanted to make their burden hard. He wanted to make their slavery hard. But that didn't work because what happened?
Because the more they afflicted them, the more they multiplied and grew.
The more they multiplied and grew. See, the thing about black people and Hispanic people, we don't give up easy. And the more you afflict us, the harder we push back. Our oppressors think that they can, that we're like them. So they believe that we're weak under pressure, right? But in reality, we're the opposite.
Right.
Like there's an earthly saying, right, that says it goes like pressure can either burst pipes or it can create diamonds, right? Well, pressure bursts the pipes of the white man. They fold under pressure. Right. But for blacks and Hispanics, we turn into diamonds when we're under pressure.
Right.
And they didn't realize that. So now we begin to grow even more, right? Keep going.
And they were grieved because of the children of Israel. And the Egyptians made the children of Israel to serve with rigor.
Right, go ahead.
And they made their lives bitter with hard bondage in mortar and in brick, and in all manner of service in the field. All their service wherein they made them serve was with rigor.
So instead of us, being servants in the land, and that was part of it. I want y'all to understand, we was already technically slaves in Egypt before this, right? While even before Joseph's death, we was already servants there, right? But we was only servants there because we came to their land for safety, to be saved from the famine, right? So we was already servants there. But when this new Pharaoh comes into place, he sees the growth of the Israelites, and he now wants to afflict them with their burdens. So now instead of us just going to work every day like we normally would, now it's you waking up with a whip to your back, and you better hurry up and get this quota filled. And if you don't, I'm beating you half to death. Think about the slavery that we dealt with here in America. This is the type of slavery that we dealt with now at this point in Egypt, right? Keep reading.
Verse 15. And the king of Egypt spake to the Hebrews, to the Hebrew midwives, of which the name of one was Shiphrah. The name of the other was Puah. And he said, when ye do the office of a midwife to the Hebrew women, and see them upon the stools, if it be a son, then ye shall kill him. But if it be a daughter, then she shall live. But the midwives feared God, and did not as the king of Egypt commanded them.
So now, why? What was the point of that? Why was it that? Give me Numbers, the first chapter. Why did the Pharaoh want to kill all of the men? Well, the reason why is because a man carries the seed, and because a man carries the seed, if you allow the men to live and continue to create children with these women, then the Israelites' bloodline continues to live on. But if you get rid of all the men, there is no Israelite seed, so there are no more Israelites. And then you can just take all of the women for the Egyptian men, and now all of the children that come after that will just be Egyptians, and we ain't got to worry about the Israelites no more.
Right.
Give me Numbers 1 and 18, just so I could prove that the seed comes through the Father.
It's the book of Numbers, chapter 1, verse 18. And they assembled all the congregation together on the first day of the second month. And they declared their pedigrees after their families by the house of their fathers.
By the house of who?
By the house of their fathers.
This is how you declare your pedigree. Your family is the house of your father, because once again, your father carries the seed. We always use this analogy just to make it very simple for people to understand. But if you take an apple seed that comes from Japan and you plant it in America, is it going to be an orange, or is it going to continue being an apple seed, even though it's in completely different soil? It's still be an apple. It's not going to turn into an orange because you planted it somewhere else. It's not going to turn into some sort of different fruit. It's going to continue being what the seed was. And so we always use that analogy, but it just makes it very clear for people to understand. So that's the reason why Pharaoh wanted to get rid of all of the men, because if you get rid of the men, then the seed line stops and there is no more Israelite, period. All right. And just so y'all can understand, the term, the suffix ite, at the end, it denotes that you come from a man named that, right? So for instance, a Cushite, you come from a man named Cush, one of the sons of Ham, right? If you come from a man named Japheth, you are a Japhite. If you come from a man named Shem, you are a Shemite, right? Because men establish seed. They establish what we use the term nationality because according to the Bible, that's what it is. But modern day term, you would just say ethnicity. What is your ethnic background? Who are you ethnically? That's who you are according to your father. And just another thing that we got to touch real quick, just in case the Bible isn't enough for you. Even if you go get your DNA test, you have to have a Y chromosome for your DNA test. Your DNA test comes back with Y chromosome results because you only get that test back from the seed of your father. You don't even get to understand where your mother comes from because only your father's DNA passes down to you. So I just want y'all to understand that even scientifically, you are who your father is. You get your nationality or ethnicity from your father. Go ahead, Sluggy.
If I could just real quick, just to put up on that too, you know what I'm saying? Reason why this is also big as well as, the Egyptians, you know what I'm saying, wanted the male children to be unalive. Like I said, the seed comes from the father, which gets rid of the notion that, especially in the, let's say, the black world where like the woman is God and all things come to her.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Women don't create babies by themselves. They have to implant the seed in her.
Right.
So to say, so if that was the case, they would have been getting rid of all the female children instead of the male children.
Right.
But they knew back then. What we know today is that you have to get rid of the men in order to kill off that lineage,
right,
that bloodline. And also, with the hard thing about going to check the DNA through your motherline, that it's easier for that line to get muddy because so many men can inject their seed into it. So it muddies that DNA. We tried to do that sample, some research I did years ago.
Yeah.
On that.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So, and that's why it's extremely important for us to understand that these people took wise counsel against us, right? Crafty counsel against us, because if you want to cut a nation off from existence, that's the way that you do it. You get rid of the men. Even the scriptures say in the New Testament, right? If you want to conquer a house, you get rid of the man. That's what the New Testament says. So all throughout the Bible, you find that same sentiment, that a man is what carries on that bloodline, right? Continue.
But the midwives feared God, it did not as the king of Egypt commanded them. But
so that's another thing. So that's another thing we have to understand too, is the bravery of these sisters, right? The Hebrew midwives, right? Because you have to understand that being in this type of captivity under such a harsh and cruel ruler, it's very dangerous to go against that harsh and cruel ruler. You do whatever your master tells you to do. Otherwise, you could be put on that chopping block. And so this is something that since the inception of our nation of people, our women have always, for the most part, most of our women have been exceptionally strong. These sisters were exceptionally strong. Why? Because even though the Pharaoh told them, look, you better do what I tell you and kill all of the firstborn, all of the males born of these people. They said, no, I'm not going to do that. Why? They said, because they feared the Most High God rather than Pharaoh. That's the same thing that we see in the book of 2 Maccabees, right? 2 Maccabees, I believe it's the 7th chapter. It talks about the fact that the sister with her 7 sons, she was the bravest of all of them because she cheered her sons on to keep the law of the Most High versus going and keeping the law of that Greek king. Same thing that you find with the courage of Esther, with the courage of Judith. All throughout the Bible, you find that our sisters are absolutely and exceptionally strong. That's another important thing that I always, whenever we read this, I like to point that out. All right. They said, but the midwives feared God and did not as the king of Egypt commanded them. And that's a beautiful thing. And we should always applaud those sisters for that. All right. And give them their flowers. All right. But continue.
Verse 18. And the king of Egypt called for the midwives and said unto them, why have ye done this thing, and have saved the men children alive? And the midwife said unto Pharaoh, because the Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian women.
For the Hebrew women are not as the Egyptian women. Understand that. And that's why I love to point this out, because our sisters are unmatched. We don't have, listen, I don't understand why anybody decides to go outside of their race and pick another manner of women, excuse me. Our sisters are unmatched. The Hebrew women are not like the Egyptian women. They're different. Why are they different? The Most High already said that he's going to later on in these chapters say that he made a separation between the Egyptians and Israel. But we have to understand that it's evident. I mean, look at our sisters and look at the rest of the world. There's no match. Right. I think a lot of our brothers, because these, like, think about how brave these sisters was and what they just did. You know, most other nations of women, they just would have, all right, whatever the king say, I'm gonna save myself. But our sisters put up a fight, and sometimes they put up a fight with us, and you can't handle that. And that's why you'd rather go get, they say, an Asian woman is so much more submissive. White women so much more submissive. No, they're just weak. That's all that is. That's all that's about. But our sisters are strong. And for some weak men, you just can't handle that.
Right.
Right. So the Hebrew women are not like the Egyptian women. Keep reading.
For they are lively and are delivered ere the midwives come in unto them. Therefore God dwelt well with the midwives, and the people multiplied and waxed very mighty. And it came to pass, because the midwives feared God, that he made them houses. And Pharaoh charged all his people, saying, every son that is born ye shall cast into the river, and every daughter shall ye save alive.
And so now, of course, because the midwives wouldn't deal with it, now he decided, the Pharaoh says, all right, well, now everybody, I'm making this an ordinance. All right. Every son that is born, you shall cast into the river. He charged all his people saying that. And I want y'all to understand that this is still crafty counsel. And it's exactly the same thing that they're doing today. Margaret Sanger is the Pharaoh that we're talking about. Margaret Sanger decided, of course, she was a eugenist. She decided that the best thing to do to eradicate the black race was to open abortion clinics in every neighborhood that was filled with poverty, where it was predominantly black. Open those abortion clinics and give easy access to all the blacks and Hispanics who don't have enough money to raise a child, when normally they would have been forced to raise that child. No, give them an out. Give them an out. And they disguised it as, well, we're going to help you. This is to help you. You can't raise a child. You're not ready. You don't have the money to raise a child. This was so many people. That's so many people's excuse for abortion. Well, I don't have the means. I'm not ready. I wouldn't be a good mother. I want to give my child the best life, so I got to kill his baby. Well, that was Margaret Sanger doing the exact same thing that Pharaoh did, which is, let's just kill all their babies. If we kill all of their babies, then they're gonna die off eventually, right?
Right.
And what people didn't know back then, which is what they do know now, is that abortions reduce your ability to be able to carry a pregnancy to term by 30% each abortion. So by the time you've had 3 or 4 abortions, you're pretty much never gonna have a child.
Right.
You're just not. So what I'm telling you is that these people have always had the same mindset. Whether these were Hamites, well, of course, these Egyptians were Hamites. The same thing with Esau. The same thing that Margaret Sanger did is the same thing that the Egyptians did. Remember, when we read these prayers, Psalms 83rd chapter, it's not just the Edomites. It's the Ishmaelites, right? It's all of the other nations. It's the Hamites. It's all of the other nations. They've all taken crafty counsel against the children of Israel, all right, and tried to do the same thing that Pharaoh did. All right, go ahead. You have something?
Could you add on? I'm saying Margaret Sanger came up with that because I think she realized what they realized back then is that, burning down and flooding our towns and cities wasn't enough,
right?
Because we would just go somewhere else,
exactly,
build up again. Mm-hmm. And so she saw that, and that's why she had to be like, okay, you know what we're doing now? No, what they call the race riots, which were really just massacres of our people, burning down our villages, our towns, and flooding our towns. Here in this country wasn't working.
Right.
The only way that she could think of was to, you gotta get them before they're born.
Right.
I'm saying, got to, white race is the best race. So, let's just get rid of all the black folks.
And you let a black child grow up, he's gonna eventually understand that our oppressor is the devil. And then you have men that grow up. I bet the white man wished that Commander General Yohana's mother would have aborted him, because now you have a man that's taken over the nation and raising up thousands of other black men and black women, right, who understand that our oppressor is the devil, and teaching us how to fight back with the scriptures, and not like the Black Panthers, not like the NFAC. You understand? Not like these other so-called black militant groups that always fall because they didn't have proper leadership.
Right.
Those are the things that our oppressor, they'll let those leaders get by. Of course, eventually they'll run their course, but they'll let these things happen because this is really a destruction for America. Like the NFAC, they didn't have to, like, the white man didn't have to step in. You understand? Their leader, what's their leader's name? The one that shot himself?
No,
I don't think the leader shot himself, but
No,
one of
his
them
people that shot
one of his
himself.
people shot. But his name was something ridiculous. Anyway, the white man ain't have to shut him down. He shut himself down. You understand? And it's just things like that just go to show you that once again, if it's of the Most High, then it's going to thrive. If it's not, it'll fall. And the fact that this movement, understanding that this movement is of the Most High, is the reason why we can go back and look at these things and make the parallels and understand how to operate and understand who your enemy is. That's part of the scriptures tell you that you have to know who your enemy is, right? And it tells you how to deal with your enemy, like Ecclesiasticus, the 12th chapter, tells you how to deal with your enemy. You know that your enemy has a propensity to do this to you, then there's a way that you got to operate around them. You got to live amongst them. I mean, we here, but there's a way that you have to operate. And we're going to find as we continue on, not today, of course, because we're going to stop at the 14th verse here today, but as we continue on, you'll find that a man named Moses understood just that. He understood that the Pharaoh was his enemy, but he understood how to operate amongst that enemy, right? And it was only because he had the wisdom that the Most High God gave him. And that's what we utilize today in America. We utilize the wisdom that the Most High gave us in America. So now we don't need to go to the town hall where they are 15s. We don't have to do that. We could just go right here on the street corner and preach the word of God day in and day out and have a much better effect on our people than going and rushing the goddamn town hall with AR-15s and shotguns.
Right.
We'll get a much better result. I promise. It's not too much you can do for the people outside if you inside prison. You understand? Right. But keep reading. Salakia.
The book of Exodus, chapter 2, verse 1. And there went a man of the house of Levi and took to wife a daughter of Levi.
Mm-hmm.
And the woman conceived and bare a son. And when she saw him, that he was a goodly child, she hid him 3 months. And when she could no longer hide him, she took for him an ark of bulrushes and daubed it with slime and with pitch and put the child therein. And she laid it in the flags of the river's bank.
Mm-hmm. Now, of course, this is talking about the birth of Moses, right? Who we was just talking about, right? Moses was a special child, right? And of course, we all understand that because we've seen we speaking in hindsight 2020, right? But Moses' mother, of course, being a mother, wanted to save him, right? And knowing the decree that Pharaoh had set out, she knew that if she didn't do something to save this child's life, that her son was going to die. So when she now said that she hit him, right? So she went and hit him. But it came a time after a few months, it's hard to hide a baby. You hiding a baby, I mean, damn, they come out crying. Right. So it's hard to hide a child, right? So when she couldn't hide him anymore, she had a faith in the Most High, and she decided that she was going to take an ark of bulrushes and daubed it with some slime and some pitch, so that way she basically made like a little cradle that could float in water. All right. Go ahead. Give me verse 4.
Okay, verse 4. And his sister stood afar off to wit what would be done to him.
Go ahead.
Verse 5. And the daughter of Pharaoh came down to wash herself at the river.
So this is the daughter of Pharaoh. This is a Hamite. Understand? This is another nation of people. This is not our people, right? Go ahead.
And her maidens walked along by the river's side. And when she saw the ark among the flags, she sent her maid to fetch it.
Mm-hmm.
And when she had opened it, she saw the child, and behold, the babe wept. And she had compassion on him and said, "This is one of the Hebrew children."
And she knew it was one of the Hebrew children. Go ahead.
Verse 7. Then said his sister to Pharaoh's daughter, shall I go and call to thee a nurse of the Hebrew women, that she may nurse the child for thee? And Pharaoh's daughter said to her, go. And the maid went and called the child's mother.
Mm-hmm.
And Pharaoh's daughter said unto her, take this child away and nurse it for me, and I will give thee, and I'll give thee thy wages. And the woman took the child and nursed it. And the child grew, and she brought him unto the Pharaoh's daughter. He became her son.
Mm-hmm.
And she called his name Moses. And she said, because I drew him out of the water.
Mm-hmm. That's Mashah in the Hebrew. Go ahead.
Okay. Verse 11. And it came to pass in those days, when Moses was grown, that he went unto his own brethren and looked on their burdens.
So now Moses is becoming older now. Remember, he grew up in Pharaoh's house as an Egyptian, right? And so he got the treatment of an Egyptian. So he didn't get the treatment of a slave. He got the treatment of a master, right? Being, of course, the people of the oppression, right? That were doing the oppressing. But now he is getting older, and he gets to go out and see the harm that's being done to his people. Go ahead.
One thing
Yeah.
I'll say real quick
Mm-hmm.
is that this is why reading the Bible is very, very important. Because you just watch those movies like the Ten Commandments and the Prince of Egypt. Yeah. They don't tell you these things. It's like this very important detail that Moses was nursed by his mother until she took him back to the daughter of Pharaoh. Yeah. No, so Moses knew that he was a Hebrew. You watch those movies, you would assume by watching the movie and how the movie presents it that Moses didn't know that he was a Hebrew. Right. Until he found out later on. But from this, we can tell because she nursed him until he couldn't be nursing any longer. Right. And then, but he knew his mother, he knew his sister, he knew his family. Right. But,
yeah, they don't put that. I noticed that. It's funny you say that. I had never watched that movie Prince of Egypt until a couple years ago, or probably like 6 years ago now. But I never watched it growing up. But when I saw it, I was like, they leaving out a lot of stuff, and they making it seem like Moses grew up like he was an Egyptian, like he thought he was Egyptian. Right. But it's clear here, even with what we just read, the fact that he went out and he saw his brother's affliction. Like, it's not like he was like, oh man, they treat the Hebrews pretty bad. And then he ended up finding out he was a Hebrew. He viewed it as they treating my people bad. Right. So yeah, and that's an excellent point that you bring too, because that is important for people to understand. Because he grew up knowing who he was. He just what's the word? He just had the treatment of an Egyptian, right? Go ahead.
Okay. Let's talk about from 11, verse 11. It came to pass in those days when Moses was grown that he went out unto his brethren and looked on their burdens, and he spied an Egyptian smiting in Hebrew, one of his brethren. And he looked this way and that way. And when he saw that there was no man, he slew the Egyptian and hid him in the sand. And when he went out the second day, behold, 2 men of the Hebrews strove together. And he said to him that did the wrong, wherefore smitest thou thy fellow? And he said, who made thee a prince and judge over us?
So before we go to that, I want to actually focus on something right now, because we just read that Moses saw an Egyptian smiting his brother, and he went and he murdered that Egyptian. He killed that Egyptian, then hid that Egyptian in the sand, right? And so that sparks the question: was Moses a murderer? Give me Acts 7.
Okay.
I just want to, because we'll close out with this, because a lot of people will read this and say, well, oh, Moses was a murderer, and and I'm talking about more people than you think. Like, when you talk to a Christian, that sometimes is their one reason why one of the many reasons why they won't keep the Mosaic law, because Moses delivered the law and he was a murderer. And but let's just understand something about what Moses did. Give me Acts 7:22 real quick.
The book of Acts, chapter 7, verse 22. And Moses was learned in all the wisdom of the Egyptians, and was mighty in words and in deeds.
Mm-hmm.
For when he was full 40 years old, it came into his heart to visit his brethren, the children of Israel.
So this gives you a little bit more context, right? Because we didn't read his age in Exodus when he went out. It just says that he grew older, but it doesn't say how old he was. So here we find that in the book of Acts, it mentions that Moses was about 40 years old when he went out and saw the afflictions of his people. Go ahead.
Verse 24. And seeing one of them suffer wrong, he defended him.
He did what?
He defended him.
He defended him. Moses is not a murderer. He defended his brother, and he was well within his right. Keep reading.
And avenged him that was oppressed and smote the Egyptian.
Go ahead.
For he supposed his brethren would have understood how that God by his hand would deliver them, but they understood not.
Now he thought his brothers would understand. Hey, I was defending your brother. I was our brother. I was defending our brother. But of course, what we was just about to read before I stopped you is the fact that his brethren did not understand, and we've always been like that. But point being, though, give me in the Apocrypha, the book of Ecclesiasticus, real quick, Salaki. Okay. But what we have to understand is Moses is not a murderer because he killed that Egyptian. All right, that Egyptian was beating the piss out of his brother, and you don't just stand by and allow your brother to just get beat half to death. You don't. Give me Ecclesiasticus 4:9.
Okay.
Yeah, let's read this. But now we just read the book of Acts. That was not murder. You understand? He had to kill that damn Egyptian to save his brother, and his brothers, his other brothers didn't understand it. Excuse me, I got damn near a little cold coming, but his brothers did not understand that. But that doesn't mean that he wasn't right to do it. Give me Ecclesiasticus 4:9.
Come to the book of Ecclesiasticus in the Apocrypha, chapter 4, verse 9. Deliver him that suffereth wrong from the land of the oppressor.
From the what?
From the land, from the hand of the oppressor. And be not faint-hearted when thou sittest in judgment.
Yeah, look, that's what you got to understand about what Moses did. He delivered his brother that was suffering wrong from the hand of the oppressor. All right, and that Egyptian taskmaster was an oppressor to that Israelite brother, and Moses thought it best that he needed to stop that man, that oppressor, from hurting his brother. And what it goes on to say is, be not faint-hearted when thou sittest in judgment, because that's not an easy case you're gonna have to fight. But you gotta watch your brother, man. You gotta take care of your brother. That's what we are here for. You understand? I can't for the life of me understand how anybody just sat back and videotaped George Floyd with that knee on his neck. I just can't understand it. I can't understand. What's that brother that was in the subway that got same treatment from that ex-army member?
I can't remember his name.
That brother, if y'all know what I'm talking about, there was a brother on a subway or on a train, and there was the brother was acting ridiculous, I think. I think he was on some sort of drugs or something like that, and he was acting a little ridiculous, all right? Nonetheless, some oppressor took it upon himself to put start choking this man, choking him. I'm talking about a full choking this man, and everybody's just like, oh, no, stop. You don't have to do that. And there's other people taking videos. And everybody just watched that. And then, of course, the brother died. And that white man, I think, he got no time in prison, right? He beat the case, right?
Yeah, he beat the case.
Yeah, he beat the case. Just up recently, I think that was like last month. It was decided that he beat that case. He didn't have to serve any jail time at all or any prison time. You're not supposed to allow that. You see a white man choking a black man. You figure out the situation. But you don't allow some oppressor to just murder your brother. You just can't allow it. And that's what this scripture is telling us. And that's with the example of Moses. All right. Now, of course, you just have to understand what you're getting yourself into. These things come with wisdom. That's why the book of Acts says that Moses was a wise man. He had wisdom. He understood the situation. You have to understand what you're getting yourself into. Don't just run and jump into any situation thinking that you saving somebody when really that man could have just molested somebody's daughter. You understand? You never know what's going on, so you always read the situation. But my point is, and I had to throw that in there because ain't nobody gonna say, "Well, Parak told me." No, don't do that. You understand? You have to understand the situation you're getting yourself into. But however, Moses did. He did understand the situation. He understood that taskmaster was beating his brother, and that was not all right. And so he killed that man. And according to the book of Acts, the 7th chapter, it was not murder. It was justified. I just want to put that out there because a lot of people will try to say, I don't follow Moses because of the murder that he committed. He ain't commit murder, right? He just defended his brother. I just wanted to put that out there. So
Okay.
it's important, little things you can. I don't want to just read by little certain things like that. And then of course his brothers didn't understand. Read verse 13 and 14 again, real quick.
Book of Exodus, chapter 2, verse 13. And when he went out the second day, behold, 2 men of the Hebrews strove together. And he said to him that did the wrong, wherefore smitest thou thy fellow? And he said, who made thee a prince and judge over us? Intendest thou to kill me as thou killed the Egyptian?
Mm.
And Moses feared and said, surely this thing is known.
So now, so he come up and see two brothers fighting. He tried instead. Now he's not going to kill. Now, this is the difference. He killed that Egyptian when he was beating his brother, right? But now it's a different situation. He two of his brothers fighting. He's not going to kill one of them. He going to break up the fight because that's also something that you should do, right? Don't allow your brothers to fight like that. And so that's what he tried. When he broke up the fight, they turned on him like, hey, what's up? You going to kill me like you killed that damn Egyptian? Right? Which is, you can't never make our people happy sometimes, man. So lucky. But then we, of course, understand that Moses, at this point, now he's like, damn, how the hell did they know that happened? I hid the body in the sand. Somebody must have seen me or something. God damn. So now he's thinking that surely this thing is known. So he's afraid of judgment. Now he's thinking, I got to get the hell up out of here. And so now we'll continue to read on next week, right? Because that is our 49 verses for today. We'll continue to read on next week and get a little bit more on Moses. And we'll be able to talk about him going into the land of... Go ahead, Sluggy.
I think what made it scared more said this passage, right? That the verse before said he looked this and that way. So he made sure the coast was clear.
Yeah.
Before he did anything. Right. So if hear that the Hebrews say, "Oh, you want to he killed the Egyptian?" He didn't check as though he thought he checked. Right.
Yeah. He wasn't as thorough as he thought. Mm-hmm. Yeah, man. So like I said, next week we'll get into a little bit more about Moses. He'll go into the land of Midian. He'll get him a rib, all type of stuff, man. It's a lot now this is a very compact. It's a lot of information going into each one of these little 49 verses that we go through. It seems like, it is. It's a lot of verses, and it's a lot to go over, and it's a lot to try to break down. So, of course, unfortunately, because of time constraints, we won't be able to break down every little thing. But I think the things that are the most important, we was able to go over. And then, of course, if anybody has any questions at any time during the class, y'all can always type them in. And if there was something that you may need more clarity on, you can always get with us on social media. You can send us a message through Instagram, through Facebook, all of those things, right? Let me see. Let me go through here. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in as well. Let me see. Hold on. The water to Just Art and Paint, the water to Liz, the water to Officer Natazak, the water Commander General Johanna. We appreciate y'all. And the rest of y'all who may not have commented, We appreciate y'all for tuning in as well. We're going to go ahead and close out with the prayers. Imagine, which means to stand. Konyak with done, which means to turn to face east. All right, we're going to begin closing out with the Lord's Prayer. Abanawa, Shabbat Shemayim, Kodash, Haya, Shamka, Yahweh, Malakwaka, Tabaa, Zaka, Haya, Aisha, Barataza, Kawa, Haya, Bashamayim, Nathanawa, Lakam, Kayawan, Wasalakana, Kawathna, Kasalakna, Kawathina, Wala'a, Tabayana, Wanasai one, Abal, Kawashana, Mayan, Rakaya, Laka, Amalakwa, Allah, Wathapa Ra, Lawalamia, Aman. Lord's Prayer in the English. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Yahweh, thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth, as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors. And lead us not to temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. So be it. The Akkad with the power in the Hebrew. Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'abukusha, Atananawa Akkad, Akkad Rapa'ah, Kal Maka'ala, Kal Madawa, Akkad Latahar, Hamat Zariah, Akkad Lakwayam, Hamathiam, Akkad, Arakawa, Atama'ala, Agar Son, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Wadaman. The Akkad with the power in English. Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, please give us the power. The power to heal all manner of sickness. And all manner of disease. The power to cleanse the lepers. The power to raise the dead. The power against unclean spirits. To cast them out. In the name of Yahweh Shai. Thank you, so be it. Prayers to bless Israel. Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Barak Lanawa, Wayasha'ala, Wahabayat Sapari, Barak, Ba'ashem Yahushua, Wadaman. What we just said in the English was, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, bless us and Israel and the school. In the name of Yahweh Shai, thank you, so be it. Psalms 121 in the Hebrew. Ashaya, it's like Asha'a, Ayanya, Ahaharyam, Mayan, Yaba'a, Isaiah, Ma'aim, Yahweh, Aisha, Shemayam, Warataza, Ayathan, Lamawat, Regalka, Ayanawam, Shamarka, Hana, La'a, Yanawam, Wala'a, Yayashan, Shamar, Yasha'ala, Yahweh. So like Shamarka, Yahweh, Tazalka, Al-Yad, Yamyamka, Yawman, Hashamash, La'a, Yakaka, Wayarach, Balayala, Yahweh, Yashamarka, Makar Rad, Yashamar, Afnapashka, Yahweh, Yashamar, Taza'athka, Wabawa'aka, Ma'aitha, Wa'ai, Awulam. All right, in the English, Psalms 121. I will lift up mine eyes unto the hills. From whence cometh my help? My help cometh from Yahweh, which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Yashala shall neither slumber nor sleep. Yahweh is thy keeper. Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. Yahweh shall preserve thy going out and thy coming in from this time forth and even forevermore. All right, Psalms the 83rd chapter, beginning with the Hebrew. Allahayim, Adamiyah Lakah, Al Thakarash, Wa Al Thashakwat, Al Kayana, Awa Yabika, Yamaya 1, Ra'ash, Al Amaka, Yawayamwa, Sawada, Wayatha, Yaitazawa, Altas upon one yaka, Amarwa, Lakawa, Wanakaki Dam, Magoya, Wala'a, Yazakar, Sham Yasha'ala, Awada, Kaya, Nawaitazawa, Laba, Yakhadwa, Al Yaka, Barya, Yakarathwa, Ahaya, Adawam,
Adawan,
Washamalian,
Washma'ali,
Mawa'aba,
Mawa'ab,
Wagarian,
Gari,
Gabal,
Gabal,
Waimawan,
Waimawan,
Waimalak,
Malak,
Palashah,
Palashah,
I'm Yeshabia,
Yeshabia,
Tazawar,
Tazawar,
Gamashawar,
Gamashawar,
Nalawa,
Nalawa,
Imam,
Imam,
Hayawa,
Ayawa,
Zarwai,
Sarawat,
Labanya Lawat,
Bayulawat,
Salah,
Salah,
Ashalaham,
Salahan,
Kamadyan,
Kamadi,
Kasaya,
Kasaya,
Sara'at,
Sara'at,
Kayabian,
Yabin,
Manakal,
Manakal,
Kwayashwan,
Yashwan,
Nashamadwa,
Nashmad,
Bayan,
Bayan,
Dara,
Dara,
Hayawa,
Ayawa,
Daman,
Daman,
La'adama,
La'adam,
Shayathamwa,
Shaitamwa,
Nadab,
Nadab,
Yabmawa,
Ayawa,
Ka'ira,
Ka'ira,
Wakaza
Wakaza'ab,
Wakazabak,
Wakazabak,
Katazal,
Wakatazal,
Mana'ai,
Mana'ai,
Call,
Kal,
Messiah Kamwa,
Messiah Kimbo,
Ashar,
Ashar,
Amarwa,
Amarwa,
Narusha,
Narashat,
Lanawa,
Lanaw,
Ath,
Ah,
Na'wa,
Na'wa,
Allahayim,
Alahai,
Allahayim,
Alahai,
Shayathamwa,
Shaitamwa,
Kagogala,
Kagogala,
Kakwash,
Kakwash,
Lapanya Rakab,
Apanya
Ka'ash,
Ka'ash,
Taba'ira,
Taba'ira,
Ya'ira,
Ya'ira,
Wakalaba,
Wakalaba,
Talahat,
Talahat,
Haryam,
Paryam,
Khan,
Khan,
Tharadapma,
Taradap,
Basa'iraka,
Basa'iraka,
Wabasa,
Wabasa,
Wapathka,
Pati,
Tabalam,
Tabalam,
Mala'ah,
Mala'at,
Panyaham,
Panyaham,
Kwalawan,
Kalawan,
Wabakwashwa,
Wabakashwa,
Shamka,
Shimka,
Yahawa,
Yahaw,
Yabashwa,
Yabashwa,
Wabahawa,
Wabahar,
Adya'a,
Aidai,
Wakaparwa,
Wakapar,
Wabagwa,
Wabagwa,
Wadaiwa,
Wadaiwa,
Hayatha,
Waita,
Shamka,
Shimka,
Yahawa,
Yahaw,
Labadka,
Baka,
Ayawan,
Ayawan,
Akar,
Akar,
Ha'arataza.
Nawatiza.
All right, we're going to read Psalms, the 83rd chapter in the English. Keep not thou silence, O God.
Keep not thy silence, O God.
Hold not thy peace.
Hold not thy
And
peace.
be not still, O God.
Be not still, O God.
For lo,
For lo,
thine enemies make a tumult,
thy enemies make a tumult.
and they that hate thee have lifted up the
They
head.
hate thee, lift up the head.
They have taken crafty counsel against thy people,
Take crafty counsel against thy people.
and consulted against thy hidden ones.
Consult against thy hidden ones.
They have said,
They have said,
Come,
Come,
and let us cut them off from being a
let us
nation,
cut them off from being a nation.
that the name of Yasharallah
Then Yasharallah,
may be no more in
be
remembrance.
no more remembrance.
For they have consulted together with one consent.
Let us consult together with one consent.
They are confederate against
They are
thee,
confederate against you.
the tabernacles of
The
Edom,
tabernacles of Edom,
and the Ishmaelites,
the Ishmaelites,
of Moab,
Moab,
and the Hagarenes,
Hazarim,
Gabal,
Gabal,
and Ammon,
Ammon,
and Amalek,
Amalek,
the Philistines,
Philistines,
with the inhabitants of Tyre.
the inhabitants of Tyre.
Assur also is joined with them.
So also join with them.
They have hope in the children of
They
Lot.
hope in the children of Lot.
Salah.
Salah.
Do unto them as unto the Midianites,
Going to them as unto the Midianites.
as to Sisera,
After Sisera.
as to Jabin,
After Jabin.
at the brook of
The
Kasan,
brook of Kasan.
which perished that endured.
Praise the Endor.
They became as dung for the earth.
They became a dung for the earth.
Make their nobles like a reb,
The numbers like a red.
and like Ze'eb.
Like Ze'eb.
Yea,
Yeah.
all their princes as Zabah,
All the praises that's above.
and as Amunah,
That's the moon.
who said,
Said,
Let us take to
let's
ourselves
take to ourselves
the houses of
the
God
houses of God
in possession.
in possession.
Oh my God,
Oh my God.
make them like a wheel,
Make them like a wheel.
as the stubble before the wind,
There's something before the wind.
as the fire burneth the
And
wood,
the fire burneth the wood.
and as the flame setteth the mountains on fire.
And the flames of the mountains on fire.
So persecute them with thy tempest,
Persecute them with thy tempest.
and make them afraid with thy storm.
Make them afraid with thy storm.
Fill their faces with shame,
But the face with shame.
that they may seek thy
And
name.
they receive thy name.
O Yahweh,
Oh Yahweh.
let them be confounded in trouble forever.
Then be confounded in trouble forever.
Yea,
Yeah.
let them be put to shame and perish,
Just let them put to shame and perish.
that men may know that thou,
We may know that thou,
whose name alone
his name alone,
is Yahweh,
is Yahweh,
art the most high over all the earth.
the most high of all the earth.
All right, we're going to read the blessings in the Hebrew. Barak atah Yahweh,
Barak atah Yahweh.
wa Yahweh Shai,
Wa Yahweh Shai.
wa Ma'aka Allah,
Wa Ma'aka Allah.
wa Alahayo,
Wa Alahai.
wa Tazab Ya'ah,
Zab Yah.
Allah Wapiana,
Alawak Yahan.
Allah Wapian,
Alawak.
Asaranya,
Asrani.
Hakotazayanya,
Barak Zayai.
Achaya Yayu,
Akal Yai.
wa Akwatian,
Wa
Yahweh,
Yahweh.
Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai,
Bashim Yahweh Shai.
wa Raman.
Wa Raman.
All right, in the English. Bless you, Yahweh,
Bless you, Yahweh.
and Yahweh
And
Shai,
Yahweh Shai.
and Michael,
And Michael.
and the angels,
And the angels.
commanding General Yohanan,
Manager Yahan.
the generals,
The generals.
the captains,
The captains.
the officers,
The officers,
the troopers,
The troopers.
and the
And the
sisters.
sisters.
Yahweh,
Yahweh.
in the name of Yahweh
Name
Shai,
Yahweh Shai.
thank you, so be it.
Thank you so much.
Sorry, we're going to close out with a courtesy salute. All right. Men of Israel, Amajim Shabbat, Amajim, Barak, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai Barakatah, Yadim Matzah, dismissed.